Back in the woods today. Been a while since I made a video. Haven't been well lately. I have this recurrent lung problem I've had since from an injury when I was a child, and I was in hospital, so I'm okay. They took care of me. Uh, Everything's great now. So anyway, while I was in the hospital, I got thinking about. For some reason, there's a very good interview I did recently below. Check that out. I'll put the link below. I got thinking about the Tyr, the Nordic god of war, Germanic god of war. Tis was, Tis Vaz, and this fellow, whatever, if you're Germanic or Norse, in terms of the rune magic, and well, he seems to be quite misunderstood now, because you hear like the god of war. The first thing you hear about is fighting, and why it's also just brought this up is that a very exciting Viking archaeological discovery was made in my hometown Dublin, and they found a stone slate with an illustration of Tyr on it from when the city was Viking, and so the Tyr archetype is strong now. Now people think, okay, it's about fucking horseflies and mosquitoes everywhere. Everybody thinks it's a war thing, it's a warrior thing, and this is why a lot of fellas in the military have the Tyr tattoos and stuff like that. It's okay, but war is a wide-ranging thing. Battle is a wide-ranging thing. There's the battle of war, the battle of conflict, the battle of the battlefield. Then there's the battle inside. There's the battle against struggle. There's a battle against problems. There's a battle against poor health. There's a battle against a relationship breaking up. There's a battle against the loss of a loved one, and the battle to restore yourself is a fight. And Tyr is the god of that. He's the archetype of that. He calls upon you to bring inside you the strength that's required at the time of the warrior. Now, I'm not talking about the dickhead who walks around going, "Yeah, I'm a hard man, yeah," this kind of thing. No, I'm talking about an ordinary person who's called upon to do extraordinary things, to invoke Tyr and to defeat this battle, whatever the nature of the battle is. This is also one of the reasons I don't believe in this whole thing of an equal share for everybody. I don't believe that everybody's entitled to something. Everybody's entitled to a basic income, or everyone is entitled to this or entitled to that. Nature and the universe doesn't work like this. I traumatized a bunch of hippies recently when I said that I don't want a world of peace and love and cooperation, because it would be the end of the human race. We would become pod people, and you need struggle, you need conflict, you need an outside thing. And if human beings somehow made peace all over the world and says we'll never fight again, and it was like a Coca-Cola ad, I can guarantee you that Mother Nature would unleash a plague that would wipe most of us out. We're not supposed to be this happy, trippy, lovey thing. You're not entitled to any rich guy's money. I grew up poor. I didn't grow up hating rich people. I went to fucking found a way to get money of my own. I didn't go on marches saying equal share for everyone and all this kind of crap. That's the parasite. That's the parasite within you that wants that. Of course, we have compassion for people who are disabled, people who are going upon hard times, but that's not the same thing as completely taking care of everyone in every way. I'm not anti-welfare state, and I'm not anti-taking care of the sick, and of course that should be done, and the disabled. The belief is that you have things, when you're moving towards things like a so-called universal income, you're working towards a universal patheticness. It'll just turn people into losers, and again, a plague or a disease will be unleashed upon the world by nature to light the fire under the backside. And Tyr is a kind of like a modifier to keep that off. So, for instance, if you have an easy life, and you're going to find that you're going to have psychological problems. All these super rich people are all afraid they're going to die without their money. You've got to constantly. This is why Donald Trump ran for president. He had it all. He even said that in the thing. I had it all. So he put himself through all this and all this ridicule and all this hatred, because he's invoking the Tyr inside him. This is why you weak facile men cannot relate to this. And you go, Trump, big man, It's because he exposes what a weakling you are. You think that you think, he didn't have to do anything. For fuck's sake. And people saying he's a pussy or he's a loser. This is a guy who all he had to do for the rest of his life was bang beautiful women, and he chooses to do this. And you oh, he's the human race is just a joke. This all these SJWs go, we equal rights, I'm a virtue signaler and all this stuff. They are all doomed. You activists are all doomed. You fight like in the Vedas, fight Arjuna, fight. Shiva tells to Arjuna on the battlefield. It comes from that Indo-European thing of life is not. I mean, I heard some interview the other day with some new age gobshite, Bruce Lipton. I can't believe people still listen to that crap. And here he was talking about the indigenous people. Well, the indigenous people of Ireland and the Europe and America, they all lived in peace and harmony with nature. Who takes these gobshite? If you look at even any of the basic information or legends from Native Americans to ancient indigenous, they were killing each other. They were fighting all the time. Just look at the fucking Icelandic sagas. They not only killed the whole family of males, but they burned a lot of women down inside the fucking houses as a statement. Now, that's how the pagans were. The pagans weren't all like fighting all the time, but when it came to war, it came to war. There was none of this turn the other cheek. If somebody came into your village looking for a fight, you would probably avoid it. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicles actually go through a lot of very good information on how pagan peoples would try to negotiate not fighting a fight. But once the sword was unleashed or the axe was withdrawn, it was no turning back. It was utter annihilation of one side or the other. That's how our pagan ancestors lived. They were compromisers. And what was that compromise? That was the modifier of Tyr, or whatever their archetype was. Okay, how far do you want to take this? Are you willing to step over that threshold? Are you willing to do this and to meet at the ultimate judgment your mortality against your destiny? And this is Tyr. This is why I tell people who are going through illnesses, if you have a heart issue, get the Tyr of Ruin hanging in front of your heart. Remind yourself you're at a battle with the heart disease. Cancer, see it the same way. A failing relationship, everything. You have to invoke, you have to say the Tyr, come on. And he'll meet you halfway, and then he'll say, how tough are you? And you'll say, I'm ready for this, and then you'll know that you've achieved what you need to do in order to fight, to be fit to fight the battle. You have achieved a spiritual deployment, of course, of types. So Tyr is not about the hard man warrior. I'm a big ham on a slow. It's not about that. Tyr is not about the soldier, because modern warfare is just brutal murder. I know the special operations people, and in Ireland we have Rangers. In America you have Navy SEALs. In England you have the SAS and all these other groups around the world, and they're probably the last of the real warriors, because they're the ones who are not hiding behind technology. And I'm not putting that all military folk, believe me. I actually have a lot more respect for military folk than people realise. But it's the industrialised warfare. It's very hard to be a real warrior. So, but war is not like a mother taking care of her children while the husband is away fighting. She's invoking Tyr. You understand? This is it. This is war. War inside, war outside, war within, war without. And the idea of stepping up onto the threshold, because it's how the universe functions. From your down there at your feet to up on the top of these trees, there are millions and billions of creatures ripping each other asunder. And guess what? I'm one of them, and you're one of them. And those of you who say, let's have a world of peace and love and universal oneness and fellowship, well, I will do everything to stop you from getting that, because 1, you're dangerous. 2, you're misleading people. And 3, you're robbing Europeans, especially, of our true spiritual identity, which is dark and light. The only way to godhood is to carry your shit with you, not to run away from it. tier. Remember that. A good archetype to have.